So it's past 1 a.m. Naomi, how awake are you?
I'm so tired.
Yep.
Ow.
Okay, so we just saw... I almost said Crystal... I almost said Crystal Skull. We just saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, it's Tuesday. I guess early Wednesday morning now.
It's Wednesday now.
And Tuesday is the cheap days. So the tickets are cheap. Popcorn, of course, never is. But Indy is kind of on its way out of the theaters. And I said, you know what? I do kind of want to see it. Because I remember liking the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And you had only ever seen Crystal Skull.
I had only ever seen Crystal Skull.
The worst one.
Yeah.
Nice, Naomi.
I know. I'm great at doing things.
I was just like, you know what? I do actually want to see it. And I knew that it was leaving theaters, and I knew that like it'd probably only be one showing or one or two showings now because it's not a new movie anymore. So you know what? Let's do the Tuesday night special. So here we are. Now this is actually kind of interesting because you didn't know about like the old pulp serials. You didn't know, but you knew that Indiana Jones was like an action movie, but you didn't know the style of action movie or the origin, and you hadn't seen the original trilogy.
Listen, I know what action movies are.
Yeah, but like this is a very specific type of like 1920s, 30s, 40s.
No, it's the jungle.
Wait, he's in a desert more than he's in the desert more than a jungle in all his movies.
Whatever, it's the jungle movies. It's jungle action.
Like jungle action.
Like jungle.
No, it's like archaeology action. It's like adventure action.
I know.
You're like
Jurassic Park.
No, because you're going to temples and solving puzzles, and it's like ancient ruins. Like that's what that. Anyway, the point is, you hadn't seen the original trilogy.
Yes.
So we sat down and watched the original trilogy, and then watched Crystal Skull because you forgot it and I hadn't seen it. Just to like kind of get caught. Now there's way more than just these movies to watch, but we only
I'm not gonna watch them. To watch this movie, you only need to watch the other movies. You don't need to watch anything else. You need to know anything.
Pretty much. But yeah, like the original trilogy is kind of cemented in pop culture's minds as being like exceptional, as George Lucas's other great triumph aside from Star Wars. So I was like, you know what, Naomi, if we're gonna be watching this, we might as well watch all of them. I hadn't seen them for like over a decade now. I was like, you know what, let's watch them all. And you know what, like quick TLDR, Raiders is as good as I remember.
Yeah.
Temple of Doom is way better than I remember.
Temple of Doom is great. I
love how goofy it is. It's so fun.
I just wish that Temple of Doom was first.
Well, it was first chronologically.
Yeah, no, I know chronologically, but like it's funny because it feels like so very before the other one. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, why wasn't this one made first?
Yeah, so we watched these, I think, 3 or 4 days ago. And so if you haven't seen the original trilogy and any time recently, right? Here, Raiders is actually a pretty serious movie.
Yes, but no, listen, you have to watch the second movie first, then the first movie,
and then the third movie.
And then the third movie.
Because that's the chronological order, yeah.
You just don't watch the first movie and then the second movie. Just watch the second movie first, and then appreciate how good the next two are.
So here's the thing. When I was growing up, like I watched it first in high school or something. Yeah. Like in my teens and my 20s, anytime anybody wanted to watch the Indiana Jones movies, they always skipped Temple of Doom. They always did the first one and then the third one, and then that was it. They never watched Temple of Doom. I was like, well, hold on, like.
I don't understand why. It was great. I loved it.
I think it's because like the first and third are very similar. Yeah. It's Nazis and they're going across the Mediterranean Sea to find various Christian artifacts. Meanwhile, Temple of Doom is completely different, and also Indy's kind of different too. He's more like money grubbing in Temple of Doom. And he's in India, and they have like, oh, by the way, the Indian government didn't actually like they saw the script like you can't shoot this movie in India. It's so fucking offensive. Like so you can't have like a bunch of cultists, Indian cultists who are out here like being devil worshippers and pulling people's hearts out and shit. Yeah, it was.
But Kalima.
But also like almost all of the like memorable moments come from Temple of Doom. They're like pulling the heart out and the giant statue.
And Kalima!
Yeah, man. And like, yeah, the minecart chase. And to be fair, like Raiders had a bunch too with like the giant rolling stone and the guy at the end with top men. Or the big warehouse. Like, anyway, This is supposed to be about the fifth movie, not the fucking originals.
Yeah.
The TLDR though is that if you were to go back and watch them right now, real quick, Raiders is actually a very serious movie. Like, I remember when we were watching it, there was a scene early in the movie where he's like packing to get ready to go on his journey, and he's like in his apartment, and he's like getting his clothes together. Like, this feels like out of a drama, like a not sci-fi adventure movie. Like, Raiders is very serious, and then Temple of Doom is just fucking off the wall insane, right? It's so wacky. And like also, it was more marketed towards kids, which is weird because it's so violent. And it had like a PG-13 rating, I think.
Listen, back then violence was good and nudity was bad.
And now it's reversed.
And now, like, 'cause I remember that as a kid. I remember being a small child and watching stuff and being like, "How the fuck is this? Am I allowed to watch this? Like, why this? So many people are dead."
Yeah. And then the third movie, they're like, listen, we need to like do the first movie again, but it was also kind of goofy still. Like the action was definitely goofier in the third than in the first. Like the first is the most serious one, and I think they kind of like struck the tone of like, it's gonna be okay. Second movie aside, it's gonna be like just the action's gonna be just like slightly unrealistic, you know?
That's the point.
Yeah, it's like
supposed to be badass.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, okay, in the second, it's just actually unreal. It's just ridiculous. Like,
it's great.
Man, okay, the scene where, like, Indy is, in the second one, he's, like, on the conveyor belt going into, like, the crusher.
Oh, man.
And it just keeps cutting back, and he's not, it's like, no, you should be dead by now. Like, it just, man, that final second just stretches out, man. It's like Frieza on Namek, you know?
I don't get that reference.
It's Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, definitely.
You haven't seen Dragon Ball Z?
No.
Are you fucking kidding me, Nate?
I don't want to fucking listen to just an entire episode of spiky-haired dude bros going, Kamehame!
Yes, bitch.
And then on the next episode, they finally say, Ha!
So, anyway, the original trilogy was great. And then we watched Crystal Skull.
Yep.
And Crystal Skull is like way worse than this movie.
This is boring.
Yeah.
Crystal Skull was boring.
I do think the first three movies are better than this one, but I think this one's better than Crystal Skull. Crystal Skull is easily the worst.
I will say yes. To be honest, I actually think this movie is fairly on par until kind of the end-ish.
You think so? Crystal Skull. Oh man.
That was boring. Just like comparing this to Crystal Skull, I was so bored during Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do was scroll on my phone.
Yeah. Like, we're not going to go into it now because this is not about Crystal Skull. Like, go watch their other media.
Go watch the Plinkett. No.
People are yelling outside. What if we get robbed? Who knows? But anyway.
Go watch the Crystal Skull, just on like ×2 speed, and then go watch Red Letter Media's Mr. Plinkett review of it, because you know what? That summed up a lot of stuff really well that I didn't even realize that I had issues with while I was watching it. My brain dead. I think the main, and let's use the segue here. Mm-hmm. The main point was that Crystal Skull didn't have a lot of violence from Indy himself. Lots of people still died. But the main main point that Mr. Plinkett made was that Indiana Jones did not kill like pretty much anyone but one actual person, specifically.
He was like, I want them all to die.
Specifically in Crystal Skull. Okay. And in this one, he killed so many people.
Yeah, so same with the other ones,
yeah. People died.
Yeah, lots of people died.
So many people died.
When it comes to Crystal Skull, they were clearly setting up Mutt to be like, this is going to be the torch passing.
Yes.
Mutt will now continue the stories. But it did so poorly, they shelved it. But,
spoiler alert, they shelved it by killing him.
Yeah, so
dun, 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 dun.
Spoilers. Like it was like a little emotional scene, like 2/3 of the way through the movie.
It was good too. Yeah. That scene was
where basically they say, Indy says, "Yeah, my son died in Vietnam War."
Yep.
Well.
Yep.
That's how it is.
He was almost crying too. That was like a really good I think that's the most emotional I've ever seen Harrison Ford be.
Oh, come on. He's been in other movies. He's been in a lot of movies, dude. Anyway, the point is that Dial of Destiny has a serious problem.
Does it?
Yes. And this, well, hold on. The real life serious problem is that even though it's about to exit theaters, it only just broke even in the box office.
Yeah.
Like, it's not one of those, like, $1 billion in the opening weekend thing.
Yeah, I think,
like, Disney wanted this to be their next big hit, and it is not. This movie's flopping.
I think it's because people got burned so bad by Crystal Skull. Plus the fact that no one really wanted another Indiana Jones film. Like, they didn't really care.
It's not just that. Well, first of all,
Those are the main two reasons.
Back in 1981, George Lucas signed a 5 movie. I didn't mention on the show.
No matter. They don't need to know.
Wow, Naomi's like, listen, you told me this, even though the camera's off. Okay, listen. George Lucas signed a 5-film deal for Indiana Jones films back in 1981 for the first movie.
Yep.
They did the trilogy, and then they were working. He was actually working on Crystal Skull in the early 90s because Last Crusade happened in. Last Crusade, what, in 89?
Okay, no, you just reminded me of the fact that from the Mr. Plinkett review that George Lucas, while he was working on the Crystal Skull, at first wanted it to, like, be set as a haunted house.
Yeah, haunted house movie.
And we just saw a trailer for Disney's Haunted Mansion.
New Haunted Mansion
right
trailer.
Before we watched the movie.
Yeah. Okay. Naomi's gonna want to see that, I'm sure.
Yes.
But
we're gonna watch it, guys.
But anyway, what ended up happening was he signs this 5-picture deal. He's in the early 90s, he's writing the scripts for Crystal Skull. It doesn't, like, he can't get a good idea. He can't get Steven Spielberg on board. He doesn't, like, it's just not working out. And basically, like, he couldn't, like, secure enough people to do it. So it fell apart. And then he then put it on the back burner and then decided to work on the Star Wars prequels instead. So he just like, I'm just going to do these instead. And he did those 3, then he came back to Crystal Skull. Then Crystal Skull flops really bad. George Lucas sells off to Disney. That's why, by the way, this was made by both Disney and Paramount because George Lucasfilm had signed the contract with Paramount. So Disney has to honor that. Even though they don't work together usually. As far as I know. So basically, the 5th movie had to be published by Paramount, I guess, but like Disney was making it. And so what ends up happening is that finally, like, we can finally make the 5th movie that we've been contractually obligated to make 40 fucking years ago. And so they make the movie. And at this point, I don't think it's just that people didn't want an Indiana Jones film. It's partially that. It's also that people are done with, like, the Disneyfication of everything. They're done with the Marvel shit. They're done with the Star Wars shit. They're done with all, like, just constant reboots and rehashes and re-releases and new sequels. I think people are just done with that nonsense. Because everything Disney's doing right now is bombing. All the TV shows, all the movies, all the Star Wars, all of it. It's all just going down the shitter.
They really just need to stop making... Okay, listen.
Make new stuff, basically.
I don't know... I know some of you who will watch this will know when Moana came out, or will look it up because you will be closer to a computer than I currently am. However, they're making a live... Shut the fuck up.
Pants.
No, I don't. Listen. They're making a live-action Moana.
Yeah.
That came out semi-recent, like, not like semi-recently, but within the past, like, within 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was actually within the past 5 years.
Wasn't it like 2015 or something, or like 2017?
It was not that long ago, and I'm just like, why are you guys making a live-action version of this? What are you doing? Like, I understood making, like, a live-action version for, like, the cartoon animal ones, to have, like, really cool CGI animals, you know? Like, realistic CGI animals. I was actually down for that. I haven't watched The Lion King, because listen, I got burned by The Jungle Book.
Oh.
Listen. The original Jungle Book had amazing songs. They were all great. And then the live-action Jungle Book had, like, one song. That was it. And whoever sang it was awful. I don't remember. I think it was the Green Goblin guy, but I don't remember.
Oh, Willem Dafoe?
Yeah. I think he was the Monkey King in that, and so he sang the song, and I was like, Willem Dafoe is not a good singer. He might be. I might be thinking of the wrong actor. I have no idea, but away from my tangent.
Anyway, okay. So this movie is not doing very well. But it is a better movie than Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
But see, that's the real life problem it has, okay? Here's the in-universe problem it has.
there an in-universe problem? I had good things to say about this movie.
In terms of Indy's character arc, it's the same character arc as Crystal Skull. And, like, the whole point of the movie, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, is that Indy comes back, and now he's an old man, and he can't really fight anymore. And there's like a new young guy who's coming along with him, and he's doing a lot of the action, and Indy's kind of like passing the torch. And it's just like, what does the old adventurer man do when he's old? And in Crystal Skull, we see what he does. He's slower. He's not like. But then here's the thing: they did that, and then they passed the torch, and then they're like, "Well, this flopped, so let's just do it again." So now we have old Indy again, and now old Indy also still can't fight, and it's the same kind of thing.
I will say that I do appreciate that they sort of came at it from a slightly different angle this time, because like this time Indy was at his like lowest point. It is like in his entire life.
There's a raccoon over there.
Nice.
He's just like looking for popcorn.
Probably.
Okay. Anyway.
But yeah, Indy is at the lowest point of his life in this movie. Spoilers for the rest of the movie. Miriam.
We already spoiled that his kid died.
No, yeah, I know, but Miriam has left him because you have to watch the Crystal. The only thing I don't like about this movie is that you have to watch the Crystal Skull to understand more of this movie. It's the only thing I don't like. You have so Miriam has left him, separated him because their kid died.
Oh, hold on. That's actually part of my point too. Because here's the thing: like they already did Miriam left him, and now he reconnects with Miriam, and they're happily ever after. They did that in Crystal Skull, and then she leaves him again.
Yeah,
and she leaves him because
it's realistic.
Because their kid dies. Yeah,
like the annoying thing is that all of this makes real life sense. It doesn't make like, oh yeah, they already did this in another movie, so why is this happening again?
It does kind of feel like that though.
But that's because they already did this in another movie, so this is happening again.
Yes, but that's what I mean.
Yes.
It just feels like in terms of Indy's character development, with the exception of his son dying, which is different, it seems like we're retreading old ground. Washed up Indy, girls left him, he reconciles with the girl at the end. It's the same, and also he passes the torch off to a young person. It's the same arc.
Except they're using Steven Spielberg's idea of the daughter instead of the son.
Yep.
Which is hilarious.
Okay, so here, because we don't want to be here until 3 a.m., I'm going to quickly TLDR the entire plot without Naomi interrupting like she always does. Okay, so Indy's washed up. He's teaching at a university. I think it's like 1969. There's like Vietnam protests going on. Also, the moon landings just happened. So, first of all, there's a great series of flashbacks to 1944 or 45. It's near the end of the war. The Germans are on the retreat. And they de-aged Harrison Ford, like, amazingly with the technology. Now, they didn't de-age his voice, so it sounded really weird. But, like, they have, like, a de-aged Harrison Ford going, like, punching Nazis. He's on, like, a Nazi train. He's fighting with soldiers. Like, it was done really, really well. I was just thinking, like, what I was actually thinking? How come they couldn't de-age Hayden Christensen for the Kenobi bit where he was, like, where he was, like, supposed to be, like, a Padawan?
Who the fuck knows?
Like, use the same technology, guys. But okay, so they de-aged Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is fighting with Nazis. The Nazi commander has the Lance of Longinus, which is the spear that pierced Christ's hip. It's his hip.
Oh, it doesn't matter where skin, body.
It's shut the fuck up.
Penis.
Shut up. Okay. Anyway, you said you weren't going to interrupt, and because it makes you think that they're doing like another Christian artifact thing, but it turns out that the spear is a fake. However, what's real is that they have one half of the Dial of Destiny.
There is an actual name which starts with an A, which I could not pronounce.
Yeah, it's. Also,
it's Greek.
Yeah, it's Greek. By the way, there actually is like a real thing.
Yeah.
But it's not. It doesn't. It
definitely
doesn't fucking bring you back to time. But there's like Archimedes did make like a real complicated, like almost computer like. It was like the first analog computer.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of gears that like keeps count and stuff. Okay, but anyway, he has. It turns out. He's like, we have something else. It's half of the Dial of Destiny. They never really call it the Dial of Destiny in the movie.
It is never called the Dial of Destiny. It is always called by its Greek name.
Yeah,
which neither one of us can say.
Yeah. So they have the Dial of Destiny, or half of it, and there's this German physicist who's like, oh man, Dude, this is
Now,
awesome.
he's also a famous actor whose name I never
That's
can
Mads
remember.
Mikkelsen.
I never remember
He was
his
actually
name.
in Death Stranding.
Ugh.
Naomi didn't like Death Stranding. And Kojima looks up to him. But anyway, there's almost like a nerdy kind of guy.
Mm.
He's a bit nerdy. He's like a nerdy German physicist. And he's like, the spear's fake, but we have half the dial of destiny. And it's like, oh, that's pretty important. And then Indy ends up taking the dial. He swipes it. The Nazis, of course, get foiled again, and then cut back to the present day. In the present day, now in real life, the Americans took in a lot of German physicists. They said, listen, okay, yeah, you're all Nazis, but you know what? We actually need to develop a space program. So you're going to come work for us at NASA, and we're going to pardon you. And that was the deal. It's like, listen, you can either go to jail or you can come make rockets for us. And they're like, well, I guess we're making rockets for you. So a bunch of the Germans came to the United States and made rockets in the NASA program. And so that's what this physicist ended up being. He was a NASA rocketeer. Rocketeer was a good movie. They also fought Nazis. They also fought Nazis in that. So, but however, he's like maintained his Nazi beliefs. He's like hidden them from everyone else. And he has a couple other like Nazi soldiers who are like helping him out. Like, including the what is it? What do they call him? Just like the Indiana Jones big guy. There's always like one giant guy that Indy has to fight.
He's so big. He's the biggest of the big guys.
He's the biggest big guy that they've had in all the movies. Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah.
He was like 8 feet tall.
So what happens is his goddaughter shows up and she's like, I just graduated from archaeology school and I want to be just like you. And remember my dad's notes about the Dial of Destiny. Can you show it to me? And Indy's like, he's like being grumpy. Mm-hmm. But then it turns out that she just steals it from him because she's actually just going to go sell it. Because she's not actually an archaeologist. She's just a thief. Well, like Indy is a thief and an archaeologist. And she's just a thief.
No.
Sure she is.
No. He's an actual archaeologist who like just ends up punching Nazis a lot because he was in World War II. She is an archaeologist thief. Mm-hmm. Like she's the thief and archaeologist. Like she's the one who goes and steals the facts and then sells them.
Yeah.
He goes and steals. And has the facts.
So
I keep calling them facts instead of artifacts. Yeah, I'm too tired.
Yeah. Listen, she is a lot like Indy at the start of Temple of Doom.
Yes.
When he says like with the stone, when short rounds like what are the stones? He's like fortune and glory, but then like he sees the slave children. He's like I can't just leave them.
But I have to assume that the museum will pay a person.
Yeah.
For their facts.
I was hoping Short Round would come back.
I miss Short Round, but
here's the best part of that movie too.
Listen, he would just be racist today. Even though even though the character itself technically wasn't actually racist, if you had that character today, everyone would just be like, they're racist.
Awesome.
No.
So here's the thing: even though they didn't have Tiny Chinese Child as their sidekick, they had Tiny Mexican Child.
He was Mexican, right?
I think so.
I couldn't quite tell. Like I knew he spoke a lot of languages.
He did, yeah. Now there was basically his goddaughter picks up this Mexican pickpocket. He doesn't do too much.
Yeah, I was actually a little disappointed. I guess I have two gripes about the movie. Yeah. One, you have to watch Crystal Skull. Two, the kid didn't do quite enough. Like, he was there. He was present. He was very present throughout the whole movie.
There was, like, a few gags of him, like, always pickpocketing people.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And, like, and he flew one of the planes at the end, and that was important.
That was a really big thing. Yeah. But, like, it's so strange because, like, you can't say that he wasn't a part of the movie because he's in almost every scene.
Yeah.
That all three of them are in together.
Actually, he's the guy who ends up taking out the big guy.
Yeah.
It's a brutal death, by the way. So the big guy...
They're in the temple.
Well, yeah, I'm going to show my head to the end. But the big guy and the kid are locked together with handcuffs.
Yep.
He pickpockets the key, unlocks, and then when they're underwater swimming somewhere, he locks him to a grate underwater and leaves him to drown.
Yep.
Like, that's brutal.
A brutal death.
Oh, God.
Like, I was just like, whoa. I was surprised the kid did that, honestly. Yeah. Like, I thought... I was a little, like... I honestly was a little shocked. Just a little bit. I was like, oh... Pearl clutch.
Okay, so it turns out that his goddaughter is actually using Indy's old man sentimentalities to steal the dial so she can go over to Morocco and sell it.
Even though the physicists' goons are after her, plus the CIA.
Yeah, so the physicists...
Really hot CIA chick.
Yeah, the really hot CIA chick.
Great.
With a giant afro.
Yeah.
So basically the CIA, because... Mads Mikkelsen is working with NASA. He's like nominally on the side of the Americans, and he's working with the CIA, and his goons are working with the CIA goons, and they're chasing this woman down. And so, but then like they betray the CIA at some point.
Yeah.
Because at some point, like he's clearly like, okay, I have my own plans now. I don't need the CIA anymore, and so his goons kill the CIA goons.
I was so sad. I yelled no in the theater.
There's like no one there. It was fine.
Yeah, but she was...
It was an empty-ass theater,
She was too hot to die.
Yeah. So there's like this three-way standoff in Morocco between the goddaughter who wants to sell, and Indy who wants it back, and then Mads who wants to come take it.
Yeah.
And in fact, Mads is like, listen, that's my property. And then she says, listen, so, yeah, Indy stole it from me, and then I stole it from you. And she says, it's capitalism, baby. It's like, that was cringe as fuck.
That was just like, right.
That's clearly them shoehorning in some modern nonsense to appeal to fucking Zoomer, like anti-capitalist Zoomers. It's like, capitalism is stealing. Well, no, it's not, actually.
But let's not
Capitalism is paying for things.
Let's not get into that now.
So anyway, the big fight chase sequence ensues. To be fair, like unlike Crystal Skull, these all felt like Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, they were
fights
good.
and chase sequence. They were actually really good.
Yeah, they were, because all of Indiana Jones action sequences are really good and also slightly funny.
Yeah.
There's many small parts that are funny. And this was that.
And also, they go on for a long time, but they don't get too tiring.
Except
and they chain into each other, which is a really nice effect.
Yeah, but okay, I like how I said when we watched The Crystal Skull that the main problem, the reason I was so bored during the car chase was because it was too long. And you disagreed.
I don't know if I disagreed, did I?
You disagreed.
You make up things all the time. I don't fucking know anymore. That's true. So anyway, like if you look back at Raiders of the Lost Ark, for example, you have the sequence where they go down in. God damn it, Naomi! Yeah, they go down into the tomb, to get the Ark, and then there's like they're entombed in it, and there's all the snakes, and they break out of the snakes, and they have to go chase the Nazis down. Like there's like a bunch of sequences happening. And there's the fight in like on the airfield. Like there's just now there's like 30-second scenes in between establishing the next one, but it's like boom, 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 boom. Like like they line up action shots. There's not like 20 minutes of really bad dialogue in between them. Now dialogue scenes do happen, but they seem to be necessary usually. Because Crystal Skull didn't have that pacing, but this one does a little bit more. And also, you could tell at least some of it. Not a lot, but some of it was practical. So, for example, the car chase in Morocco, that was very CG. It was very CG, right? The final, like the siege. Was very CG.
How else would you
Game of Thrones
that?
Did it. Game of Thrones did shit like that.
Did they do that practical?
Game of Thrones, yeah.
With all of the fireballs?
Not the fireballs, but like the people on the beach and like the fighting on the castle wall, that was all practical.
Okay, the people fighting, but like they were flinging massive fireballs.
Yeah,
and giant mechanical chain grabbers.
But the bits where they're actually in the temple, like the Tomb of Archimedes, that was completely practical.
Yeah, that was practical.
And it looked really good too.
Yeah,
it looked really good.
Yeah.
So anyway, they have one half of the dial, and who ends up with it?
Schmidt.
Yeah.
Mads
Madison ends up with half of the dial. But then she's like, listen, don't worry about it. Archimedes left a map, and it was on a boat, and we have to go down to the wreck. So they go to Greece. They get one of Indy's old friends, who is like a...
Who I don't think we've met. We
haven't met him before.
It feels, that shot where we saw him and Indy, and I was just like, it feels like we should know him, but I don't think we do.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, like, they brought back Salah, right, from the first and the third movies, and now he's like a cabbie in New York. Yep. But they brought him back, and It's like, oh, look who it is. They're my old friend. And then he goes to in Greece, he goes to they call him a frogman, which is just like a marine back then. He goes to Greece, and he's like, oh, my old friend. And it's like, do we know this guy?
Yeah.
He might have been from one of the other stories that they just didn't make a movie of.
Maybe, yeah.
Or maybe it could be from like the TV show.
But I'm 90% sure that the guy whose name is Benny, I'm 90% sure that actor was the voice of Puss in Boots. Like, it sounded almost exactly like him.
Wasn't it Antonio Banderas?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just say Antonio Banderas?
I couldn't remember his name until you said it.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Anyway.
He's Puss in Boots.
Anyway, they dive down using like 1960s era diving technology, which is kind of cool to see, to be honest. They go down. There's a bunch of eels, which are just water snakes and Indian snakes. It was funny, Indian snakes.
It was good. It was scary.
Yeah, dude,
that was scary.
The kid was like, yeah, the eels look like snakes. And he's like, no, they don't. Shut up. So they get, it's a map that's in like wax or something. So it's like underwater and it's still preserved.
Wooden wax,
yeah. So they bring it up, and then Mads Mikkelsen attacks their boat, kills all the fucking divers, kills Indy's friend. They escape, but Mads has the map.
No, we have the map.
Right, Indy had the map, but Mads knew because she deciphered it at gunpoint.
And then fucking dynamited them.
Yeah, she threw a dynamite stick at them. Then they get away by stealing their boat, and they're heading off. And Indy's like, oh yeah, this is wax. So he melts it with fire, and he reveals on the inside of it there is like a golden disc.
Which also has which is the actual map.
Yeah, extra instructions. Yeah, and they realize, oh, it's not actually in Alexandria, in Egypt.
It's in Sicily.
It's in Sicily. So they go back to Sicily, and so and
Syracuse.
and then Mads is watching them with binoculars, and he's like, they're not going east, they're going west. So they go over.
I thought that was kind of stupid. I was like, did they just start following them? Like, you blew up a boat. Yeah. Like, the boat was partially blown up.
Well, you saw in the background the guy was, like, getting the life raft ready. And it's like, well, life rafts back then did have engines. So you could get back to shore, I'm sure. But anyway, they get to Sicily. They find the Tomb of Archimedes with a bunch, all the usual tricks and traps.
It was good.
But they find it. They find the other half of the Dial of Destiny. Mads beats them there, takes it. Are you shaking the whole car with... You always shake your fucking leg on the show, in bed, and you're shaking the whole car now. Dude, you were shaking your leg in the fucking theater.
Yes. I must...
Stop.
I must shake.
Okay. Anyway, listen, okay? Here's the one giant plot hole in the movie, okay? So it turns out that once you put the two halves of the dial together, the other one was in Archimedes' tomb. It's a time machine, okay? And Mads' plan is to go back in time
and kill the Fuhrer.
He's going to kill Hitler, take over the Third Reich as the new Fuhrer, and then actually do the Second World War properly, because he believed that he wanted Germany to win, but he believed that Hitler couldn't do it.
Yep.
Which is why they kind of foreshadow at the start of the movie. He says, America didn't win, Hitler lost.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
And so that's his grand plan. And he's clearly been planning this entire time. Like, ever since Second World War.
Yeah.
He's been, 25 years been planning this. So, he has a hangar set up with a plane from the era ready to go. They have, era-specific Nazi uniforms. Like, everyone's ready, right? All of his guys dress up. Everyone's good to go. Now, here's the biggest plot hole in the movie. Okay? Why did it happen to be the case that the hangar where he kept all of his secret stuff and all of his extra men where they're going to go off on this time travel adventure also happened to be just up the road from the Tomb of Archimedes, which is on Sicily? He didn't even know it was on Sicily. He thought it was in Alexandria in Egypt.
Oh, no. I assume that they're, I just assumed...
It just happened to be on the same island?
No. I actually just assumed that they just traveled there from Sicily. It was somewhere else.
But Sicily's an island. They didn't see it. You don't see them...
They drove away.
Yeah, but they drove... But they're on an island. Sicily.
Yes, but did they drive to another part of the island, or did it cut away? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it cut away, and so I just assumed, oh yes, time passed.
Okay, but like, did they cut away to them driving onto a boat and then taking a ferry somewhere else in the world? And
No.
then them...
They drove away, and then they disappeared somewhere else.
No, but here's what I mean.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Like,
I'm just saying.
Okay. The
assumed.
point that I'm saying is that it just so happens that his entire hidden Nazi operation
I don't think it was on Sicily.
Yes, it was.
I don't think it was.
They didn't get on a boat.
Oh, no. You know why it was on Sicily? Because it was in Syracuse, and that's where Archimedes had lived, or whatnot. They mentioned this in the movie.
Yeah, but hold on. They mentioned this only... Let me say it. They mentioned this only after she pulls out the tablet and says, where does he live? Oh, Syracuse.
Yes, no, I know. But I bet you that because when we first meet him in the movie, he was like already obsessed with the dial. So I bet you that he set up his stuff there because he was just like, yes, this is where Archimedes lived. I want to put all my stuff here because that's great. I bet.
Didn't explain that at all.
That doesn't matter. I'd assume.
Not explained at all. No. For me, it's like, hold on. He could have like, why wouldn't it be in Germany? Why wouldn't it be in like some other place? Like, in fact, when he left the States, he asked to go to Morocco specifically. He's like, do you have a base in Morocco? Like, what's the plan? Like,
he asked to go to Morocco because that's where the goddaughter was going.
Yeah, but he didn't know that. Okay.
Yes, he did.
I guess apparently he did. Okay. Here's my point. And this is a good point. All right?
I agree with you on your first point, not your second one about him going to Morocco.
Fine. Here's the point. It just so happens that he sets up his hidden Nazi base with all of his period-specific stuff to go back in time, and it's like within driving distance of the hidden tomb of Archimedes on Sicily. He didn't even know it was there.
Hooray.
That is, in my opinion, a giant plot hole.
That's destiny.
That's
Ergo, not giant plot hole.
That's stupidity.
Destiny, because it's the dial of destiny, because it was all meant to happen.
They go to the tomb of Archimedes, they find the thing, they put it together, they go back in time. But it turns out, the dial actually doesn't even, like, you can't just control where it goes. It always brings you to Archimedes' time.
Is that what they said?
Yeah, they said that in the
okay.
movie. Yeah.
Well then.
And they're flying through the rift in the sky, and they come down, and there's like this is the kind of the point where the movie goes off the rails, because they've now time traveled back, and you have the Romans attacking Sicily, and they have their ships, and
the siege of Syracuse.
Yes,
actual historical event.
And the Romans are like, oh, there's planes. Let's fuck them up. And they start shooting at the planes.
No.
Yes, they do.
No, they call them dragons.
Yeah, I know, but still. Remember you said you wouldn't.
Fine. I just won't participate.
Oh.
I'm gonna sleep.
No, wake up. Come back. No, the point is, I just want to get it done quickly, Naomi, because you're already fucking fading. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
No, keep talking. I'm listening.
You know what?
Stop.
Then get up. Okay, so. I'm not doing this so you get up. God damn it, Naomi. Okay, so. Basically, they're dragons, fine. They shoot them. The Nazis are like, fuck this. And they just start it's like, I don't even understand what their logic is. They just open the doors and start shooting with their handguns down at the Romans. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to kill the entire Roman army?
Oh yeah, totally. We're going to put some bullets in their boats and make them sink.
Yeah. So they start shooting at the Romans, and it turns into a fucking thing. Meanwhile, the kid in another plane came through the rift. That other guy in the plane, he didn't even do anything. Why was he in the plane?
He was sleeping.
Well, yeah, he was sleeping, but he didn't add anything to the plot. It's like, you stole my plane. You didn't help him land it. You didn't help him fly it. You didn't help him take off again. He was just...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Romans eventually take the plane out, and Mads is like, no, everything's gone wrong, we have to go back. And they're like, we don't have enough fuel to get to the plane won't survive getting there. And he's like, no. And then the plane crashes and they all die. However, Indy and his goddaughter jump out with a parachute. And Indy's all beat up and shot up from and he's like, dude, I want to stay with Archimedes because my life sucks. And meanwhile, the kid has landed the plane. It's like, get on! And he's like, no, my life sucks. I don't have Miriam anymore. And I don't have my son anymore. I just want to stay here. And so his goddaughter, knocks him out.
It was great.
And takes him back to the present where he reconciles with Marion. All right. And there's the movie. That's the whole movie.
Okay, the end. We're gonna go now. Bye.
Naomi. Naomi.
Stop.
But yeah, the biggest problem, in my opinion, was why does he have his base on the island? It doesn't make any sense. But, like, it was an okay movie. It probably doesn't deserve to bomb. But it's not as good as the others, for sure.
It's way better than Crystal Skull.
Way better than Crystal Skull. Way better than Crystal Skull, yeah.
I honestly, like, it might not be, like, on par with the other three, but I think it's, like, only, like, slightly below. Like, the other three are here, and then it's, like, here.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, it's
and
not
then
that
Crystal
much.
Skull's like,
yeah, Crystal Skull is, like, beneath the car.
Beneath the car. Yeah, like, Indy felt right. The villain was actually a pretty good villain, to be honest.
Yeah, it was.
Very good villain.
And you know what? Technically, the goddaughter was, like, the second villain for a little bit.
Yeah, okay, here's the thing. We disagree on this. I have a feeling that they intend for the goddaughter to be, like, the empowered female character.
No.
But she's actually, like, a piece of shit the entire movie.
No, listen.
To the very end.
Listen, if a man had said any of the things that she had said, you wouldn't have had any problems with it.
I stole it from you, it's capitalism. If a man said that, I'd still be against that.
No. That part was stupid. No, you started saying that right after she, like, they had stolen another vehicle in the car chase, like, separate from Indy's vehicle.
Well, they kept trying to ditch him, and that was like, don't...
No, yes. Well, he was trying to steal something that she wanted to have, like...
She stole it from him!
Yes, I know! I'm not saying she's a good person. She was a fucking piece of shit. You're not wrong. That's why I'm saying she was the second villain. But, you started saying that after she was just like, well, what do you mean? Like, I'm successful and beautiful and brilliant? Like, or something stupid like that. Like, and I was just like, yeah, that's something a villain would say.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so we agree.
Yes, but you're just like, but they want us to like her. And I'm like, in what way? In what way are we supposed to like her other than the fact that she is strayed and we want her to come back?
Because I understand millennial writing.
Yeah.
I understand fucking lefty zoomers.
Fine, you're right.
And they're doing
I'm not even gonna argue with you.
And
you're
they're
right.
and they're
Fine.
doing it. And they're doing a thing where like they can make the woman the most vile fucking character.
Fine.
And
all right.
Naomi, what are you doing?
Fine.
Naomi. Naomi. What is your final word on this movie?
I already said it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. What's your score of this movie?
Like a 6. 6 out of 10. 6 or 7 out of 10, yeah.
Yeah.
If you like Indiana Jones, yeah, 7.
Yeah, I kind of think so. All right.
Yeah.
I think I've pretty much the same thing. Yeah. All right, so next, we're going to go watch all of the TV series now.
Nope.
The Indiana Jones
going
Adventures.
Goodbye.